Welcome to our workshop on high performance computing. My name is Avendaño-Franco, and on this video we will talk about terminal multiplexing on the application called Tmax. When you are working on the HPC cluster, you often will end up in a situation like this. Several terminals, you connect to each of them through SSH to the cluster. On one of them you probably are working with some code, on another you are monitoring processes or monitoring jobs, and looking into how the machines are performing for your jobs, or reading the output of simulations that have completed. By doing that, you have several applications, several terminals open, all of them connected to the cluster. And if you by chance lose your internet connection, or you just close your computer, all those terminals are gone. So you have to open again, recreate those terminals, and do the corresponding SSH connection to the cluster, and eventually move into the directories you were prevalently located. So this at some point becomes a very inefficient way of working with the cluster. So two things here: multiple connections, you need them. If you are running multiple jobs and editing files, you will like to have multiple terminals. And second, you are risking of losing all your environment in case of a network disconnection. So to solve that, there is a program, an application that is very important for you to know and learn a little bit, because this will solve those two problems. And the name of that is Tmox. So Tmox is a terminal multiplexer. It's an application that disentangle the creation of terminals and the client, the SSH connection where you are running those terminals on the cluster. So this works with several concepts that we will try to clarify in this session, in this video. So first, clients. Clients are the application that you open and you connect, and when you are operating or looking into those terminals are created in a terminal session. You can have several sessions running on the head node, and we will see that in a minute in the video demonstration. And in those sessions you can create several windows, so basically more terminals attached to the same session, and you can split the screen in multiple panes, so you have again multiple sessions, multiple terminals sharing the screen. So this is basically a hierarchy of terminals that you can control, and all those terminals survive if you detach the client. If you just disconnect from the internet, if you close your computer, all those terminals remain active on the head node. So conceptually, you have here several clients. I am depicting here. Imagine that I have a few desktop machines, one laptop, and all of them are connected, or can be connected to one or several sessions on the head node. Those sessions that I here am depicting with the blue rectangles can have inside multiple windows that I am showing here with those red border rectangles. And on each of them I am able to split either horizontally or vertically the space, the screen space, into multiple panes, and on each one of those I have an entire terminal running, and all this hierarchy, all those sessions, all those windows, all those panes will be running all the time on the head node. The only condition is the head node must to be alive, and that's typically the case. We only shut down that head node a couple of times during the year for patching or updating some specific software. So let's go to the demonstration, and we will clarify all those concepts for you. So here I am on Thorny, and the same thing will operate for the Spruce. So all those commands were exactly the same on both clusters. So how we create a session? We create a session with this command. With this, we are creating an entire new session, Tmox enter, and I am here on my session. I know that I am currently on Tmax because I have this lower green bar that indicate me first the name of the session. We will see that we can have several sessions on this, and the window. And we currently have one window, and that window has the number 0 and it has a name. So that's the first thing to know. Right? So I can create new windows on this session. For doing that, I hit Control, and notice again that I have on the right lower corner of the video an application that is showing the commands that the keys that I'm pressing on my keyboard, so you can get an idea exactly what I'm typing. And also I have like a small space showing the commands that I will be demonstrating during this video. So the first command is creating new windows. So for that, all the commands on Tmax start with a prefix. By default, that prefix is Control B something. So I will be hitting Control B C for creating a new window. So Control B C, and I have a new window. So notice now on the lower bar I have window number 0 and window number 1. Let me create a couple more. Control B C, Control B C. So I have now 4 windows. By default, they receive was name bash, but they can be identified with those with a number for each of them. So now you can move between windows on Tmax. So for doing that, is again Control B something, and this something is N for the next window, P for the previous window. So Control B N will go to number 0. We were on window number 3, so we'll go cycling over all those windows. Control B N, and it will go to number 1. Control B N, and I'm going on number 2. Noting the star is changing the place, so the star indicates on which window we are currently located. Just to make things a little bit different, I will go, for example, Control B N here and execute the command top. So notice that now here I am on top. Control B 0. Let's say that here I am executing date, and here Control B N, I will go to project 2020. Control L, so I get this on top, and Control B N will show this one. So notice that with Control B N, I'm cycling across all the windows. Same thing with Control B P, I will be cycling backwards around the windows. Next command, Control B, let's say 0. How to move to a specific window here. So notice that each window has a number. So for the first 10 windows, they will get 1 digit to identify them. So we can move through them just hitting Control B and the number associated to it. So for going to window number 2, Control B 2. Window number 1, Control B 1. So we are moving around. So that's the first thing. So next thing is renaming the window. You can put names to that. So for example, here, number 3, I know that I am on top. Typically, some applications rename themselves for the name of that window, but we can do that explicitly. So with Control B, comma, and let's say put it on uppercase just to make it different. So I can put names that help me to identify what I'm doing on that screen. So Control B, let's say 1, and here I'm in project 2020. So it could be good to have, for example, a good name for that. Imagine that I have a project with that name, so 2020 could be an appropriate name for that. So I can rename the window. Another thing that we can do is to put a name. So killing a window. So with Control B ampersand, I will be asked if I want to kill the window where I'm currently located. So let's say that I don't want to do that, but see here, I would like to kill this window. I don't need it anymore. I can remove this window. So Control B ampersand, kill this window. Yes. So notice that the killing the window will not change the numbering for the windows. It will left behind an empty space for the window number 2. If I want later to create a new window, it will receive that number, the next number in the sequence. So now you see that I have a new window for the number 2. And so at this point, I have one session with multiple windows, 4 windows here. So I can, if I want to, I can just close the computer, close my internet connection, and later I can go back and reattach my sessions again. But also I can do it explicitly. For doing that, you can detach for the current session with Control B D. The session is still running. The client is not working anymore. It's just the session that is there running on the head node without your knowledge or without your explicitly seeing the contents of the session. With Tmox, you can see which sessions you have, and I have several here, so I just created an additional. But with LS, I can see the sessions that I have. So I have 2 sessions here. One that I just create, and I created without a name, so it received the number 1. And I have another session that I have previously that I use, and I explicitly name it Thorny. So I can create new sessions here this way. So I can create an additional session, new, with the name, let's say, demo. This is a new session. And now notice on the bottom left corner, it's written the name of the session. So I can have multiple sessions with multiple windows, and in a minute you will see that we are also able to split the space in multiple terminals in what is called a pane. For knowing which sessions we have on this machine, on this head node, I can type this Ctrl B W, and I will see a list of all the sessions. So I have a session here, session number 1. I have a session here that has the name demo, and I have here a session with one window that is called Tourney. So this session has one window, this session has another window, this session has 4 windows. So let's go here, and I'm on this session, and can create another. So a few windows here on Tmax, and now I can split this window either horizontally or vertical. If I hit Ctrl B percentage, I will be splitting this vertically. So, and I can use Ctrl B O to move between those panes. Control L, clicking this. So with Ctrl B O, I will be switching between pane, and I can create another one. This time splitting the space horizontally. So with Ctrl B double quotes, and here I am. I have now 3 panes. So I'm sharing the space on this window with 3 panes. And again, I can cycle between them with Ctrl O, and I can also change the layout of this arrangement with different predefined layouts that I can use with a space. Ctrl B space. So Ctrl B space, and I have, let's say, this layout with 3 vertical panes. Ctrl B space, and I have layout with 3 horizontal panes. Just for making a slight difference, let me put some here the date, so they will become slightly different. And Ctrl B O, and here I will create another one, that is another command that is inside Tmax, that is Ctrl B T, in case that I would like to have a clock on this. Ctrl B T, so this will show me a clock. So I will be cycling on those. Ctrl B space, Ctrl B space, and I have several ways of cycling all those panes and showing the contents of them individually. So let's jump into this one. For example, Ctrl B also. I'm currently located on the central pane, and notice that the space is too short for me to see anything. So I can zoom into the pane with Ctrl B Z, Ctrl B Z, and I will get in a zoom of that pane. So now it's refreshing, and I have this pane taking the whole space for a while. So I can hit again Ctrl B Z and get in Ctrl B Z, and returning back to the layout where I was working. So Ctrl B 0, I move to a different window, and with Ctrl B W, I can see how this looks. So the different sessions. So again, this is one session, this is another session, this is another session. I have 3 sessions. In this session, I have 4 windows. Each one of those has just 1 pane. This session has 3 windows. This one has 1 pane, this one has 1, this one has 3 panes. And here I have 1 window who has just 1 session, which has 1 window, and one pane. It's not splitting the space. So Tmax is a very powerful tool when you are working extensively on the cluster, and you can have several sessions running for different projects. So you can organize yourself, all your terminals, all your sessions for different projects that you are working on. So you keep that organized. So to reattach, see if I connect to the cluster and I can reattach the last session that I was working on. And here I am on this selection, and I recover everything that I was doing before. The sessions, the windows, and the different panes, all organized for me. You can also have several machines, your desktop at home, your laptop, connected to the same session. So in that case, the windows could arrange slightly different. If one session is bigger than another, it will take the smallest and will readjust a little bit the space. But it's perfectly possible to having several clients running potentially on different computers, looking into the same session. With that, you are basically manipulating from central location all your task, all your environment on one single place. So Tmox is something that you should be learning as you progress. I have not used Tmox until now, so for the previous sessions I prefer to just show you from a plain terminal what you can do with the command line interface and with the text editors. But now it's time for you to learn a new tool and add that to your toolbox of packages that are helpful when you are working on a cluster, on an HPC cluster. So I will keep it like this. I hope you learn what you can do with Tmox. It takes a while to become familiarize yourself with these commands, with the different strategies for jumping, moving between windows, panes, and sessions. But this is a very good tool, so keep an eye on it. With this, thank you very much, and see you on our next video. Bye.